What's happening, people? I hope you're doing well. Today I wanted to have a chat around one of my favourite, if not my ultimate favourite Battlefield game, and specifically why I can still play it to this day. If you couldn't tell by the thumbnail and the title, the game I'm talking about is Battlefield Bad Company 2, where I got my first start in Battlefield and where I had the opportunity to hop on over the weekend. It was fun to play and to look back on this game as to where I started out playing Battlefield, and also what were some of the main reasons that the game drew me in and kept me playing. Along with that, to contrast maybe some of the more recent Battlefield games we've seen, in particular 2042. So I think the first thing that really made Battlefield Bad Company 2 a great game for me is the fact that it was my first experience of that large scale war game. Prior to that, I'd only played games like Call of Duty, which are obviously smaller, tight infantry games, whereas Battlefield was the first expansive, all-out warfare game that really opened my eyes to the concept of having infantry and vehicles all playing in the same space together. Obviously that's a personal thing, but the number one thing for me I think was the destructibility. It's something a lot of people go back to, but the Frostbite engine in Bad Company 2 allowed for virtually limitless destruction on the map. Not only did this open up opportunities for interesting ways to take on objectives and attack or defense, but it also made each round unique. You never got bored of playing the same map on attack or defense, because every time the map was changing constantly around you. Take Rush for example, where you could bring down entire buildings onto an MCOM, taking that objective out of the game without actually having to plant it. I think another key thing to note from Bad Company 2 was the sound design. And again, I know a lot of people bring this up, as it felt like DICE did a fantastic job of nailing all of the effects, not only the weapons, but also destruction, damage, and just general ambient sounds. I recently went back and found an old article from designingsounds.org, which was from the release of Bad Company 2 in 2010. They actually had the opportunity to sit down with the audio director, Stefan Strandberg, and talk about how they went about capturing all the sounds needed for the game. And it really goes into the minute detail of what they were doing at the time, and for instance they were using close to 80 microphones to record the gun sounds. That dedication to nailing each individual sound in the game really does shine through when you're playing it, even to this day. This is more of a personal preference thing again, but making a move from games like Call of Duty over to Battlefield, Bad Company 2 was a really good stepping stone for me because of the way the maps were set up. Obviously with Rush being the dominant game mode, the maps were very linear and designed around that, and I was used to playing in linear shooters prior to Bad Company 2. To me, it didn't really feel like too much of an adjustment when I was going into the game. Along with that, it has to be considered that because of the player counts and the size of the maps, it allowed DICE to be able to work on things like the sound design and destructibility, which obviously is going to be more difficult in games like 2042, where it's handling a significantly larger amount of players on the map, and larger maps overall. But I think it really goes back to the fact that during Bad Company 2, it was down to the granular detail and the effort that the devs put into the game. It was a solid foundation for anyone who wanted to experience Battlefield for the first time, especially those on console like myself. I know Bad Company 1 was on console too, but it's really Bad Company 2 that brought me into the fold and got me invested in the Battlefield franchise wholeheartedly. A couple of lesser points that I haven't actually mentioned, one being the campaign of Bad Company 2, following on from Bad Company 1, which I unfortunately never got to play. Bad Company 2 as a standalone campaign was also brilliant. And team play within Bad Company 2 was encouraged, but it was never forced upon you. You never felt like you had to be in a squad all communicating to know what your role was or what you were trying to accomplish. I don't think that's been diluted over time, but I do think that element of team play has been lost a little bit. Just because you as an individual probably don't have the same impact that you used to do in the previous games. I still look back on Bad Company 2 fondly, and I always will. It's definitely up there in my top 3, if not top, Battlefield game of all time. But let me know down in the comments below if you played Bad Company 2, what your thoughts of the game were, and if it really stands out to you as one of the best Battlefield games of all time. If you missed my stream of Bad Company 2 earlier this past weekend, do come over to the Discord where I'm letting people vote on what Battlefield game I play on a regular basis. As always though, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks again for your time. I'm sure I'll catch you all in the next one.